Hi everyone, in today's video I'll be showing you how I drew this pink rose in color pencils. So I've done my initial sketch on another piece of paper, regular printer paper, and then I used graphite transfer paper, the white graphite transfer paper, to transfer the image to my toned paper. I am using the Fabriano moss toned paper, so I wanted to keep the paper clean and not have any graphite lines. So I used the white transfer paper to transfer the image to, or my drawing to the toned paper. And then now I'm just working section by section, petal by petal. I start on by adding a layer of the lightest pink, and then the areas that have the highlights and the lighter areas of lighter pink than the lighter pink that I added, I add the white, or not a white, I add the wheat color over that, and then not wheat, but it's a sort of a beige color, and then I add that over, and then I go in with the darker pinks and add the darker areas and the shadow areas. But as I'm applying the colors onto each petal, I'm keeping the direction of the patterns of the petals, which you'll see those little lines that are streaks in the petals. I keep that in the direction that they need to go according to my reference photo. And also I'm paying close attention to the direction and the shadows and highlights of the petals, as well as the areas where the petals have a little sort of they go in, and that's where the shadow area is, and then it comes back up, and then it has the lighter areas. Like if you look at the petal that I just did, you'll see the areas of the creases and where the folds are, and also where they overlap one another, there's a shadow on the petal beneath that. So that's where I'm using the darker pinks for. And each petal, as I'm working through them, I'm going over with a blending pencil. In this one, I'm using the Lyra Splender Pencil. That's just to blend the color pencil onto the paper. Because this is a green tone paper, you may see some of the green going through or showing through the petals. That's perfectly fine. That's the kind of look I was going for. I do put enough pencil onto the paper before blending, so that I have a smooth blending of the pencils, and I don't have that sharp lines or the colors blending to one another, which helps a lot to cover that tone paper. But having some of that show through gives a little bit of a dimension to the piece and makes it look more realistic and also three-dimensional. So now as I'm working on this piece, I'm going petal by petal. I'm paying close attention to my reference photo. It's very important to pay close attention to the shadow areas and the areas of the highlights, as well as the directions of the patterns on the petals, because by not following it exactly, when you finish with the drawing, it will just look like a very flat, and it won't look three-dimensional. By adding those shadows and highlights is what makes the flower come to life and look realistic. So once again, I'm using different pinks. I'm using a very light color pink, I'm using a medium tone pink, and I'm using a darker pink for the shadow areas. The highlighted areas, I'm going over the pink pencil with a beige color pencil, just to bring that highlights up really bright. And then I'm going over each section with the blending pencil. Remember, once again, as you're going into the center of the rose, there are many layers of petals. So pay very close attention to the shadow areas that you need to define, so that you can see the petals are overlapping one another as they come to the center and come together in the center. And then obviously there'll be much more shadows in the center of the rose, because the petals are condensed there, and there's a lot of petals that are close together there compared to the petals on the outside that are opened up on the outside. Now I am keeping a sheet of tracing paper under my hand as I'm working, just so that I don't smudge the paper or get any smudging onto my hand that can go onto the other areas of the toned paper, and it also keeps the drawing from smudging as well as I'm working. Okay, so I forgot to keep my tracing paper under my hand there. But okay, now I'm going on to the extra flowers that are still closed up, the little rose buds on the side, or the rose bud on the side. And I'm just going in, what you see me doing there with the kneaded eraser is just trying to lighten up the white transfer paper, the lines from the white transfer paper. And now I'm just going in and working on the greens. I'm also using 3 different greens for the uh, green stems and the leaves. I'm using a dark green for the very dark shadows. I'm using a medium green for the entire piece, and I'm also here retaining some of the lighter areas, which I use the lighter green for the highlighted areas. I'm also adding some pink here and there to the leaves as per the reference photo, and I'm also using some cream of that cream color, or even you can use white just to get those real light areas on the stems of the leaves. And I like the look that you get when you add the darker pink to some of the areas of the stems and the leaves. It gives us, just brings everything together. Now with these leaves that I'm doing now, the reference photos showed that the edges of the leaves had a lot of yellow. You could see the yellow on the edges of the leaves. So I just put that in with the outline, the initial outline that I had with the yellow again. And then I started going in with the darker green and getting all those lines or veins on the leaves in. And then I went over with the other greens I did put a layer down of the medium green, and then I went over with the other darker green. But I'm still letting some of that undertone show through. And also I don't need to worry about fighting against the white of paper, because this is a toned paper and it's a toned green paper. The moss is a green color, so it can show through the leaves, and it just adds more dimension to the piece, and I don't have to worry about fighting against the white of the paper. So you can see I'm doing the same thing on this side with the leaves as well. And yeah, so I think that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, don't forget to like and share, and don't forget to subscribe. Till the next one, bye.